So hello everyone. I think that we can start our today's workshop. So today we'll talk about engaging business angels and venture capital. I present myself for those who hasn't heard me before. So my name is Joanna, and I work with Kirsty on organization of that workshop. We will start right now, and we'll have about 2 hours to share a presentation and question that you may have concerning engaging business angels and venture capital. So as just some remarks concerning housekeeping, please keep your micros shut, keep your camera open if it's possible. And I just like to remind you that this session will be recorded. So later on, we will post it on our YouTube channel. What else? Here you have 2 QR code. So if you like to join the INVESTMED Engage platform, this is please scan the one which is on the left. And if you'd like to subscribe to our mailing list, the email mailing list, please scan the code that you have on your right. I will keep it just for a while for you. Okay, and we have one more thing that we'd like to ask you. Could you please answer the EU subgrant survey that you can find behind that QR code? It will be very helpful for us because here in EMEA we are working on a policy paper concerning the EU subgranting. So thank you very much for supporting us in that task, and thank you very much for giving your answer to that survey. So once again, please scan the code, and we will be very grateful if you can participate in the survey. So let's see how we organize our time today. Our agenda is divided on 5 sessions. We'll have 2 sessions concerning the whole MENA region, and with 2 speakers. And then we'll skip to a session about investing in Lebanon, following by the session concerning Tunisia, and the last one concerning the investing in Egypt. At the end, you are more than welcome to ask your questions to all the speakers that we'll host today. And the first session will be done by Antoun Mouawad. He's a vice president from investment at Fndng. He works on evaluating, supporting portfolio companies, and developing and articulating structured investment theses. Later, we'll hear Dr. Ayah El-Arief. She is a founder and CEO of Word. She's also the MENA Women's Business Club Managing Director. So I thank you very much for joining us. The session concerning investing in Lebanon will be done by Gaelle. Gaelle Yammine. Sorry if I mispronounce your name, Gaelle. So Gaelle, she has more than 3 years experience in venture capital, financial advisory, and in general the startup ecosystem. Then we'll hear about investing in Tunisia. This session will be given by Awatef Adalet. Awatef, she's a senior business analyst. She's working in the energy sector, and she's a member of the Maya Women Business Angel Network in Tunisia. And at the end, we'll hear about investing in Egypt by, once again, Dr. Ayah El-Arief. And finally, we will give your time to your questions and answer from our speakers. We have Kirsty and Elena who are working on noting all the main points of the discussion. So at the end, we will see, we'll hear some conclusion from our session. So this presentation, as well as the presentation of all the speakers, will send you at the end of the session. And I would like to also ask you at the end of the session to go through this small survey, which is about engaging business angels and venture capitalists. So thank you very much for joining, and let's start with our first speaker, with Antoun. Antoun, let me close my presentation. And now you can start. I give you the floor, please.
Hello, and thanks for having us. So I'm very excited about this workshop, and I'm looking forward until the end as well to hear everyone's opinion and to chat a little bit more with all of the startups and entrepreneurs as well. So I'm Antoun Mouawad. I'm on the investment team of Fndng. Let me share my screen so I do a small and quick presentation. Okay, I think you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, it's correct.
So I will talk a little bit about 4 points, a little bit of an introduction about Fndng. I will share a small overview of the general perspective of the investments regarding climate technologies, green and blue startups in the MENA region. Also, a little bit, I will talk a little bit about the funding status, about the startups in the MENA region and the landscape. And last, I will take the chance to talk about a new fund and initiative in the renewable energy by Fndng in collaboration with USAID that we are undertaking as we speak during the last couple of months as well. So to talk about Fndng in the beginning, so we are partially funded by USAID. We initiated and implemented a program that is under the MENA Investment Initiative since 2015. It was a $20 million program that is co-investments and equity guarantees for early stage businesses. It's fully deployed, and in 2019, we had another program of around $40 million under the Lebanon Investment Initiative. In the same way, this is what we do. So we do co-investments, we give equity guarantees as well, which resulted in $33 million of direct investment, funding 50 companies, leveraging $44 million, creating 500 jobs, and 35% of our startups are women-led. It goes without saying that a lot of our startups have since 2015 as well, and it's not recent, are related somehow to green technologies, to farming, to food security, to water security challenges as well. So to go to the second point, which is an overview of the climate technology investment in the MENA region. So as you know, the MENA region was growing for the last few years, except the 2022 and 2023 were tough years. We saw a decline overall. But nevertheless, over the last 5 years, out of the $13 billion that happened in funding of startups in the MENA region, 5% were related to climate technologies, which is around $650 million, and also 5% of the total deals, so 200 deals approximately for $600 million. So the thing is that the region is going through a pivotal era. There is a growing urgency to address the climate change, one, and there is advancement in the technologies that empowers us to confront those challenges. This region contains 12 of the world's 17 most water-stressed countries. But because of this urgency to address the climate change problem, we had seen an 11 times growth over the past 5 years in funding climate technologies. H1 2023 alone witnessed $40 million of funding and 30 deals, which was a record. And despite an overall 50% decrease in the general funding landscape in the MENA, actually the climate tech startups were the only one who witnessed increase, whether in the number of deals and in the amount of investments. To address a little bit the sectors, so around 40 to 50% are related to horticulture, 18% are into renewable energy, and it goes to various sectors from mobility to farming to circular economy and other sectors as well. So today, it's not only about renewable energy, but it goes along on all the sectors. In a nutshell, those were the countries that captured over the 5 years the most number of deals. So definitely you have UAE because of some mega deals that happened, especially the buyout of Yellow Door Energy and the funding of Pure Harvest Funds, which was around $180 million funding round, and the buyout was $400 million as well. So because of the mega deals, UAE is on top of those countries with $400 million and 45 deals. KSA witnessed a little bit as well, around $68 million. Egypt is in number 3 with $42 million. Then you have smaller deals in Tunis and Lebanon. So to continue about this, so who to approach from the startups perspective? So everyone is involved today. As we said, this is a very urgent challenge to address. Governments are taking place. You can see initiatives in all the countries, UAE, KSA, Egypt, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, even Lebanon with, I will leave this for later on with the focus on Lebanon, but even in Lebanon, you would see many initiatives, out of which the We4F, for example, you have accelerators like and investment firms and VCs like Fondation Diane who only address green startups. We4F is across the whole region, by the way, as well. So Algeria, Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, Morocco, Tunis, Sudan, Yemen. So it's all over the region. On the mega deals, you see banks involved, DFIs, IFC, private equity firms involved. You will see in the next slide, VCs are also active in the climate tech startups. You have also the surge of specialized accelerators. So Google for Startups for Climate Change, PepsiCo Greenhouse, Clem Accelerator of Egypt, the Catalyst of Abu Dhabi, which is between BP and Masdar. So you can really, at any stage you are, address accelerators, VCs, banks, DFIs, PE firms, government initiatives. Everyone wants to appeal. Even VCs are active. Everyone is making deals in this landscape. Everyone is active, as we said. To go back to IM funding, so I'm taking the opportunity to speak a little bit about this. Because of the problem that we have, for example, in Lebanon, the electricity problem and the financial crisis, and overall worldwide the surge and the oil prices, we have seen an acceleration of adoption of renewable energy. So with collaboration of TIF and USA TIF, which is the Trade and Investment Facilitation Project, we have created and we are developing today the Solar End, which is a renewable energy fund addressing renewable energy and efficient energies to help companies transition into renewable energy solution and reduce their burden from the energy cost perspective. So it's a $20 million fund seeded by $4 million from USAID and $16 million from private investors. It provides financing over 5 years. We have already received more than 100 plus companies in the pipeline that are going under meetings and due diligence. We are expecting to finance 20 to 25 companies, sustain 400 jobs, reduce overall the energy consumption. 20 megawatt of renewable energy produced is expected by the end of the fund, and the reduction of 14,000 tons of CO2 emissions. We are also trying to address the new carbon certificates, the IRX as well, to see how we can speed up this process as well and help companies monetize their reduction in CO2 emissions as well. So this is it in a nutshell, and looking forward for the rest of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Antoun, for all those precious information about investing in possibility of financing in the MENA region. And now let's give the floor to Dr. Ayah, and she will make an introduction concerning the cultural and creative industry in the MENA region. Please, Ayah.
Okay. Hi, you can hear me well? Okay, perfect. So I'm really excited to be with you today. It's such a pleasure to be sharing my experience with you. So let me tell you a brief about me before we start. So I am El-Arief. I'm the founder and CEO of Mouawad. So I'm actually a startup founder, as you all. And actually my industry is the creative industries. So we actually do gaming. So I'm really proud that I'm doing this session because gaming is my passion. And I happen to be also the managing director for the MENA Women Business Club. It's a regional club where we try to empower women and we try to give them a lot of trainings, mentoring. We do a lot of meetups, and also we try to expand their network, especially that we are focused in women. So we try to get them access to network that will help them to get access to investments afterwards. So we had a lot of our members who were able to close a lot of deals through our investors. And actually we have helped a lot to reach out and expand in the other countries that we have. So we're actually in most of the Arabic countries, but with a focus in the Mediterranean countries. It has been a great experience for me, but let me take you back to what we are going to talk about today. I will share my presentation now. Just a second. Okay, you can see my screen now? Yes?
Yes, yes.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect, thank you. So let me go into a deeper look into the MENA region. I started my journey as a startup founder 15 years ago. So at that time, it was very difficult. People didn't know more about the creative industries, and it was very hard at that time to find a local community who can support and an ecosystem who can support these startups. But things became more different now, especially in the MENA, because people now are started to think about what's happening here, because a lot of things are actually happening. So, for example, just a second. Yes. Why we are talking about the MENA? Because actually 94%, when we look at the GCC, you'll find that there are 94% of the companies are actually SMEs. And 90% of these companies are actually in the Saudi Arabian and Oman and Kuwait as well. So we are looking about a lot of potential in this part, a lot of people who are working, a lot of opportunities for new jobs. And from here comes the startups. So the startups are actually evolving from the MENA. And when you go around and around, you'll see that a lot of investors coming now from Europe and from Eastern Asia and from the States who are looking to invest in startups from the MENA region. So why we are doing this, what are the challenges that we are facing, and we can have this growth that we are looking for. So actually the first thing, of course, is the access to finance, the e-business environment that we are searching for that can empower us and make us able to work in a better way. When we go back to Egypt afterwards, I will tell you more about how the business environment changed a lot in Egypt in a better way. A lot of access to education that changed. So before we weren't able to find any rappers, we weren't able to find any materials that can help us to develop our startups, but things are different now. And of course, the development of the technology products is different. Now we are actually doing it and we are actually competing in a global level. So actually there are a lot of startups, especially in the MENA, that did a lot of exits and got a lot of acquired from very big companies worldwide. When we talk more into the tech generation, you will find that 26 of the total population is actually going to the younger generation. So a lot of people that we have are under the age of 26. And this is something you won't find in Europe and you won't find in other successful markets, let's say. Because we are coming after them, but we are having a lot of potential and we are having a very strong market that they are eager to invest in us. The thing is that we have to search for the right investor who is really going to put his money in our startup. So when you think about it and you look from an investor side, why would he invest? So actually they want to get into the new revolution. They want to see how the ecosystem are actually ready, which is ready now. A lot of high quality products are already there. A lot of startups that are going actually into sustainability and green tech. A lot of innovation is happening, especially in Egypt, for example. We have a lot of amazing startups with very poor things. They can actually do a lot of amazing products. And the market size, as I said earlier, is very huge. When we go into what happened this year, you will find that actually most of the deals that were happening happened in Saudi Arabia, and it was top funded, and actually in Emirates as well. So you'll see how the progression of these years from 2019 to 2023. Actually, 2022 was a very good year for us as startups, but it's declining this year, but hopefully it will rise again very soon. As you see, these are one of the top funding companies that got invested in, and the top investors contributed. You'll see that 10 investors contributed to 50% of the MENA total funding. These are the ones from these. You can also, the STV, you have Al-Jazeera Capital, and a lot of the list. You can save it and try to search for them and see how you can get benefit from them if you are in the growth stage. When you go more into the late stage evolution, you will see that we actually had very nice mega deals and deals that was happening for the startups, especially in quarter in the 2022 and 2021. But hopefully again we are going to do it. But I know this year was like very difficult, but it will pass. Everything pass. In this you will see also the numbers. It's as it is. A lot of media deals have been started to rise more and more. A lot of funding opportunities are there. So it's something that we are proud of, that actually investors are looking now into the MENA and they're really eager to pay their money in this, and there are a lot of return of investments in this area. These are the top funded startups in the first quarter of this year. So you'll find Flowers, you'll find Nana, you'll find Tabi, Sari. And these are good numbers regarding what was happening this year. So we are actually, a lot of things are happening in Saudi. So it's actually booming there. And a lot of startups now are going there to expand their businesses. When we get back to the creative industries, actually, it has a lot of phases. So when you go deeper into it, you'll find it's divided into three main parts: the art and culture, the design and media, and design and the media. And it's more divided as you see here. So the art and culture is more like the cultural heritage, visual arts, crafts, for example. When we come to design, you will find a lot of software programs or technologies. You will find interior and graphic design, fashion as well. And actually, when you talk about fashion, you'll find also a lot of interesting startups that are actually doing a lot of renewable and recycled materials that they're using in their startups. And when we talk about the media, it will be more into the publishing and the new podcasts coming, and the digital media and the videos. And I also want to add to this part the gaming, because it's actually booming right now, and a lot of things now are going into the games. So people now are into the esport, and Saudi Arabia has been investing heavily in the part of the gaming. Actually, a lot of people are competing in the esports, are looking more into gaming, and we are looking more into actually adding gaming in everything. So you'll find a lot of trainings now going through gaming. You'll find a lot of, for example, education. Also, there is a lot of games going into education and gamification. So actually, these branches or these sectors are very booming right now. But when you think about it from an investment level, yes, maybe it's hard to get investment to these sectors. But also, when you are able to show your product very well, and you're able to show your passion in your presentation and in your pitch deck, these startups actually boom. So it's actually having a lot of potentials and a lot of options to get a lot of funding afterwards. When you look at this graph, you'll see that the export percents for these industries and the GDP actually is rising. As you see, Lebanon, Egypt, this is actually for Lebanon, Egypt, and Tunisia, and the graph looks very well so far. When you see the insights of the late quarters that we are in right now, you'll find that 36 million invested in MENA startups. Of course, it's lesser than last year, but the most went to UAE, comes afterward the Saudi Arabia, and then Egypt, Tunisia, Jordan follow back. And then when you see the number of investments, you'll find that it were for 14 startups in UAE, 7 for Egypt, and 4 for KSA. Of course, because I'm more into female founders and supporting females. So when you look at the gender investment sum, you will find that there is a different mix here. Not a lot of money is going into female-founded startups, but we are hoping that this will change and that things will be better. And when I talk about this part, I think that the most important thing that you are capable of showing what you do as a female founder. It's very important to show your passion in your pitch deck, so in order to get the money. So I think many people or many startups that are female founded gets to have underestimating themselves. So the thing is, you're already winning and you're already doing a great job. So you have to show what you are good at, and you have to show that you are successful already, because this is very important. This is how why the percentages of the male founders are more than females. Males are not afraid of showing what they are good at. So when you come to the females, you should show how you are good at, and you should focus on the things that you are doing, even if they are small milestones, but actually they are big milestones for the others. So when you look at the stages itself of the investments, you will find that the investment went more into the most funding amount were coming from the grants, for example. So a lot of things are going to, like, for example, BusinessMed. There is the UNESCO, there is USAID. There are a lot of projects with the European Union where you can get grants actually from here, and the grants is a very good option to get funding for your startup in order to develop your product or develop your marketing strategy. A lot of good things are going here if you can get an investor. The other thing that you'll see that also the pre-seed and seed actually is like, yeah, going likewise, and hopefully we'll see a lot of investments coming in the next year. When you look at the sectors wise, you'll see that, as I told you earlier, so gaming actually and esports are booming. I'm really proud about this part. But when you look more about what's really in the top, it's fintech. So actually, fintech is number one now, coming back, and then clean tech, gaming, food tech. We have also the market and e-commerce. We have advertising, a lot of things coming afterwards, but these are the sectors that the investment have done in this time, or this phase. I think the most important part is to find the right investor for you. So it's not about going and talking to any kind of investor. The thing is, you have to choose the investor that will help you to expand and to grow, because you don't want to burn yourself, and you don't want to feel that, okay, why I can't get investments, why I'm still 10 now with no funding. You should do your homework, and you should search for the right partners who will help you. From a personal experience, in my so actually Word is a third startup for me. I had an earlier startup, and one of the problems that I faced was a problem with my investor, because we weren't on the same line. So actually my investor was the reason that the company closed. So it's very, very important to choose your investor well. It has to be someone who already believes in you, someone who really loves the industry he's doing, someone who, okay, it should be, some people like that the investor knows more about the industry, and some others it's fine. But when the investor knows more about the industry, he will help you more to grow. Especially when you're in early stage, it's very important to know who's going to be your partner, because an angel investor or a seed, this investor will be involved with you in everything you're doing. So choose your investor wisely and search for them good. Go to the right places. Go to where you can find them and pitch a lot, and go to competitions, because these competitions will help you to get more exposure and find the right investor. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayah, for sharing with us your personal experience in creating startups, and for your advices about how to look for investment. And now let's switch to Gaelle. And Gaelle will present about the situation existing in Lebanon. Please.
To be here, and nice to meet you. I have some issues with my audio, so if that happens, please do let me know. Just about me before starting, I've been in the investment space since 2018, covering multiple asset class from public equities, wealth management, and now venture capital. I've been with an EVP for the past 3 years. I'm based out of Beirut, Lebanon, covering the whole MENA region from Beirut. I will give you more of an overview of, what we invest and what we look for at MEVP. And the goal of this session is, through our experience covering the whole MENA region, help you understand how to reach to investor and who to reach out to. But just to give you a start, we have 7 offices all around the GCC and the Levant. We're one of the unique VC that have this coverage. And we did start out of Lebanon 10 years ago. And being able to really that coverage has taken us some years, 13 years to be exact. But right now, we are acting as a launchpad to companies to emerge as MENA champion, whether it's from the Levant and the GCC, bridging the gap between 2 regions that do not have historical coverage from venture capital firms. We see a lot of opportunities being centered around emerging markets specifically, or the GCC. Not a lot of investors covering MENA as a whole and having foot on the ground in a very aggressive way, whether it's in the GCC and the Levant region. For us, this is our vision. This is the pay point we're aiming to tackle, and we see a lot of synergies between this region toward other satellite markets such as Turkey, Pakistan, Nigeria, etc. And we did invest in all of these emerging markets as well. So throughout our different initiative, different coverage, would love to give you a bit of a flavor of our history, what we look for, and how we can help here today in this session. Track record, we've been in the market since 2010. Back at the days, there wasn't much of an ecosystem or startup as much as we're talking today. Things significantly changed in the past few years, and we're really happy to see that progress. We've been mostly focused on tech startup. We do anything that has a tech angle as long as there's no hardware or capital intensive component. And we are primarily focused, as I mentioned, GCC, Levant region, the whole MENA, with some satellite markets just like Turkey and Pakistan, etc. For us, you can say that our geographical segmentation is more of an allocation of timeline. So you can look at our funds differently. Maybe in 2010, we're more prone to the Levant region that was booming. Today, we have an equal split, Levant, GCC, etc. And it's really mostly based on timeline and the opportunity that we're seeing in these markets. But we see really interesting startup emerging from the whole MENA region and tackling problems that are really not really country specific, but that can even go globally. And I will touch upon that, when discussing some of our exits, etc. We had 300 million to date in AUMs across 1.6 billion in co-investment. We're really proud that some of these co-investment are generated from international investors that started, to step foot into the region with us through deal we've led in the past few years. And this is a trend we see accelerating as MENA, become a hub for international startup through some of, the acceleration in the Saudi dynamic, UAE dynamic, emerging market dynamic we are seeing from a growth perspective. We many successful companies. You might be familiar with Anghami, which emerged out of Beirut, Lebanon, grew across the MENA region to be the Spotify of the MENA. And we listed this on the NASDAQ. It was the first SPAC merger for the MENA region, a big success cases. And we also invested from Lebanon in Treasury Express. This is a treasury management solution that also started out of Beirut. It got acquired by a NASDAQ listed company, Bottom Line Technology, which was also acquired by Thomas Bravo last year. So not many people are familiar with these exit or these success cases because these are that emerged from MENA and had most of their revenue in international market. So actually not only MENA champions, but global champions. And this is something we're really proud of. Another success case out of the MENA region, and this is, one of our big success, not because we did a lot of money, but because it was one of the first exit the MENA ecosystem experience, and it was actually led by a woman founder. It was acquired by a Japanese company. It was publicly listed called Cookpad, and it's really one of the big success we saw back in 2015 when also the ecosystem was just emerging. or the impact part of our track record, we've created today more than 70,000 jobs across MENA, Turkey, Pakistan. A lot of these jobs are enabled through our startup. For example, a lot of them are, people that were able to find jobs through the company, but not are actually employed by the company itself. This could be, freelance, gig worker, delivery drivers, etc. And we're also proud to offer a lot of opportunities for women in technology. Today, 32% of our portfolio companies' employee base are women, and we see this increasing across time. And we are one of the first startups to launch an impact fund out of the MENA region, specifically tailored toward Lebanon. We've invested more than 50 million in Lebanese startup, and we look to double down in the Levant region as well in the coming years. And I'll talk about our previous fund, in the subsequent slide. But today, as of 2023, we launched our fourth legacy fund, one of the most mature funds in the MENA region, MEVF4. It's targeting $150 million size. We did the first close earlier this year in Q1 of 70 million, anchored by international investor and regional investor, one of the first in the MENA region. And the goal of this fund is to, continue our success story, invest in growth tech company. When I say growth, I mean Series A and B plus. So these are companies that have unlocked product market fit, are looking to grow in terms of product section, in terms of geographic expansion, and are looking to the next stage of capital. So on average, our ticket size would be 3 to 5 million in one round, and we can go up to 15 million in one opportunities across subsequent round. The geographical segmentation, as I mentioned, is MENA, with an equal split between GCC and Levant countries. We are doing less satellite markets, so we're not really investing in part of this fund in Turkey or Pakistan, but mostly doubling down on the MENA region as a whole. Overview of our GP and our team. So we've been in the market, as I mentioned, for 13 years. We have 10 investment professionals between Dubai, Beirut, Riyadh, Bahrain, Cairo, Amman, and Abu Dhabi. And our team is constituted of 23 people. This is own legal and financial, due diligence done in-house with our own team that are not necessarily part of the investment division. And we invested in more than 60 companies across the MENA. We are one of the first funds to have a regulatory license from Dubai, ADGM, and one of the first funds, as I mentioned, to list a company on the NASDAQ from the MENA region. Management evolution. We started in 2010 with a small $10 million friends and family fund. It evolved across the year to be one of the first funds regionally to bring on sovereign wealth fund, from Dubai, from other region as well. And today we're actually one of the first to have 4 European institutional investors as part of our first close. We're currently, as we're speaking, doing a second close and looking to do a final close by the end of this year in Q1 2024. This is a bit of, an overview of our co-investor. You can see a lot of very successful international players such as Kleiner Perkins, Chimera, Axel, Tiger Global, the IFC, Mubadala. And we look to do many more co-investment opportunities because we believe that in the region, especially us being a bridge between the Levant and GCC, we can act as a collaborative approach between a lot of other VC and institutions in our network in this specific region and bring them on board toward bridging the gap, not in a specific country, but in the MENA as a whole. There's a thesis that, we want to build local adaptation of successful international companies without taking any business risk, like business model risk. And you can see that in the region, we don't really have deep tech startup, right? Even today, you can see the AI, for example, penetration compared to the rest of the world is a bit lower. 10 years ago, this was, how the market looked. We're really happy to see that in the recent year, we see things change. So we're not only just investing in companies that are doing copycat, we call them, of global players toward the MENA region, but we're now investing and finding companies in emerging markets that are actually building global solutions that are not available at all. And this is something very interesting because it means that the wave of entrepreneurs graduating from previous successful startup, whether it's Karim, Anghami, Kitopi, etc., are launching and building this domino effect across the ecosystem of multiple version and layers of startup companies that are building deeper and more extensive solutions than what we saw in the past, or the success case of international champions. So, this is mostly of a historical view. We had invested in Al-Ghani out of Beirut, Lebanon. We invested in Rain, which is the largest crypto exchange platform in the GCC. And as you can see, all of these players had success cases, or similar company being very successful in other mature markets. Now we are excited to see that, as I mentioned, this is changing, and we're happy to see more deep tech focus, more interesting opportunity being, kind of incentivized by governments, by other DFIs to be led from the MENA region and start from here. About us, and what is our track record, our experience. I wanted to position this last slide to be able to help you approach investor and better understand, how can you actually pitch and who you need to pitch to. Very important to actually understand who you're talking to and who you're approaching. Stage, and we are growth stage oriented, $3 to $5 million ticket size. Second part is geography. We are MENA oriented. And the third point is what is my industry specification, which is tech with no hardware. The MVP and are very different across a range of investors, whether these are business angels, accelerator incubators, other VC, whether they are early or growth stage oriented. We're able to really understand, fundraising is a very difficult exercise. It can cost a lot of time, energy, and resources. To really understand how to allocate that to the best way possible, you really need to understand if you are pre-product, for example, that your best shot are angels that are can find synergies that are within the ecosystem, your sector, your kind of network you can leverage on. If you are a bit more late stage, you can go for accelerator incubator if you're looking for just enough to start that traction. And once you have traction, you can actually go to a lot of investors, whether these are VCs or kind of angel network that are trying to capitalize on a specific sector or opportunity. Details are actually available mostly online. So if you go to the list of, for example, biggest investor, or in this category, in this kind of stage, you can find how much they've been investing, if they've actually been investing, because as you know, in some critical times, some investors are more cautious and put investment and deployment on pause. And you can better understand who to reach out to. This would help you save a lot of time and really identify how to build and reiterate your pitch accordingly. Because you need to be kind of tailored to, in terms of kind of catching their attention, make your business spark in their eye. And this is how you pitch it in a way that you would know would make sense to them as well, or it's what they're looking for. So, in mind, when you look at where you are today, what's the best way to consider funding and how to navigate the ecosystem and be able to get the best deal for your startup at the particular stage. Investor, the most common method usually is, you're familiar with them. If you have a warm intro, that's the best. If not, it's always good to try to apply to their website and then reach out on LinkedIn to kind of accelerate and, get the ball rolling in terms of your application, try to get a sense if you're a proper match or not. And usually, if event and you're putting yourself out there, you have a very short time slot to actually build that conversation and make them, see that your startup is unique, build that pitch. So here, what I wanted to center this slide around is how can you make the most of actually coming in contact with an investor and make sure you match. So here you have the obvious, elevator pitch. And in startup ecosystem, we see a lot of these elevator pitch in multiple formats. Sometimes it's the email you send whenever you are, doing cold outreach. And you have to understand that if investors are receiving hundreds and thousands of emails, you really want to maximize your chance of hooking them in. And this is here how we're structuring this exercise to be able to capitalize on that. This also stands when you're reaching out on LinkedIn, during events, when you're having a conversation, and you really want to not explain everything you're doing, but just enough to kind of catch and have that second meeting where you can really shine and show them that you could be what they're looking for. So always start, with a hook. A hook doesn't have to be very catchy or very artistic. It could be just a simple sentence that makes them, shine, or the problem you're trying to solve shine. And this will give you a good leeway and opportunity to dig deeper and explain how deep is the problem, how really good and what's your competitive advantage is as a team, as a product, and your positioning to tap into that and tackle it. And finally, just a bit of flavor, enough to show them where you are. And this is in terms of traction or social proof, in terms of if you don't have numbers, but have what you would need to at that stage to keep them at least interested in what you're doing, because we all have ideas and we can all pitch ideas very well. It's not something new. I can go on ChatGPT and ask for 100 ideas today and go to an event and try to raise capital for that. So that validation is always important to show that you're actually good at what you're doing and it's working. You just need a bit more capital at that stage to unlock the next stage of your journey. And finally, it's always good to try to proceed, push, whether it's sharing contact, taking the conversation further to a meeting, through submitting your pitch deck and getting honest feedback from them, etc. But this is a lot, but keep in mind that once you want to pitch that hook, that elevator pitch, it has to be between 30 to 60-second maximum. Even when it's on LinkedIn message or an email and it's formatted as such, it needs to be only 2 to 3 lines. And that's enough to get the ball rolling. But the trick, those 2 to 3 line right, 100%. And always remember, this is a process that will always be iterated based on your investor. If you know that your investor are interested in this specific geography, in this specific pain point, you will like to highlight the pitch towards that angle to be able to really maximize your chance of highlighting what is best for your startup in with regard of that investor. So that's it in a nutshell. I would be happy to answer any questions. So please feel free if you have any Q&A or you're currently in your fundraising journey, facing any difficulties, would love to help. Keep them in the chat and would love to, come back later at the end of the session and have a more deeper conversation towards that.
Thank you very much, Gaelle, for sharing with us your vision about investing in the Lebanon and the MENA region. And of course, thank you very much for giving advices to our entrepreneurs about delivering the elevator pitch. And of course, we'll have some minutes at the end of the session if somebody has a question or if they want to reach out to you. So now let's switch to Ayah. She will talk to us about investing in Tunisia. Ayah, the floor is yours.
Hi, Joanna. Hi, Kirsty, and everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to speak about investment in Tunisia, specifically from business angel perspective. Do you see my screen? Is it okay?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, excellent. And thank you as well to Ayah, Antoun, Gaelle for really great insights about the MENA region and the investment specifically from VC perspective. It's quite enlightening. So today I'm presenting on behalf of Damia Business Angels Network in Tunisia. I'm a member in this network. In a parallel life, I'm also a professional from the energy sector with 22 years experience in engineering and operation. I'm also a mentor in several networks, including the Global Women Network for the Energy Transition. And also I'm an entrepreneur in the agricultural field, but in the traditional way. So I'm growing olive trees in Tunisia. So that's a bit of about me. I'm thrilled to be here, and I'll in this presentation, I'll go through an overview of the business angels and VC landscape in Tunisia. I've tailored the presentation really to be focused on Tunisia, so it's more on for the Tunisian entrepreneurs, but I think there's some common factors as well with other regions. As well, I'll go through an introduction of Damia Business Angels Network and share some thoughts about what our business angels looking for, including some perspective from BA perspective on elevator pitch. I know Gaelle did a great job on that. I would probably summarize some thoughts on that. And then I'll finish by sharing some tips on how to approach BA and VC in Tunisia. So I'll just use the. Excuse me, I'm trying to use the laser pointer. Okay, yeah, here it is. Okay, so I'm using the data shared by Startup Tunisia Annual Report for 2021. The data for 2022 is not shared yet, but I think this could give us an overview for the investment landscape in Tunisia. So for 2021, there was more than 104 million GND total investment for startups locally and internationally within Tunisia. A bit less than half were for local, like Tunisian startups, and these investments were done through 129 investment operations. If we look at the splits of these investment operations, we can see that VC take the largest share of these investment operation with more than 39%. Business angels only have a bit more than 12%. So the majority is for VC. For other shares is really split between companies or group of companies investments. Looking through a gender view, we note that only 14% of the startups founded by women got funding. So this is where Damia Business Angel Network come into picture and would like to change this landscape and have more women access to finance, but as well have more women invest into the ecosystem. Now I'm going to try and zoom in into the business angel landscape in Tunisia, again through the figures for 2021. Some are in French, but that's the report for Startup Tunisia that was in French, but I'll translate in English. So basically in 2021, there were 2.8 million GND invested by business angels. So that was a great increase in relation to previous year. So the total amount invested by business angels until 2021 amounts to 6.7 million GND. And the last in 2021-22 startups were benefiting from this investment. 49% of them are have like between 1 and 3 years in the ecosystem. And we can see that the majority of the startups are to be B2B, the startups which benefited from BA investment, like 57, more than 57% are B2B, have B2B business model. Again, just this slide illustrates the breakdown of the BA during 2021. So there were like 45 independent business angels. Among 12 of them were women, so about 25% of BA investors were women. And in Damia, would like to change that and have more women investing as well. So generally, business angels, they invest like in groups of 2s and 3s or 7+, and you can see the majority are small groups of 2 or 3 to 6. Okay. Again, this shows the breakdown of business angels like type. Either they work in networks, or they're independent, or they're actually a group of independent business angels. Following up with the ticket size, so basically there were different ticket sizes, but the majority of the ticket size is less than 10,000 TND. But the good thing that there are some ticket size more than 100,000 Tunisian dinar, which is about 16%. That percentage, which is a good like support for the startups in Tunisia. This part shows the cap table value. So basically, it shows that 44% have a value of less than 50,000 TNG. The majority, and that's the majority, but with 6% for with more than 500,000 Tunisian dinars. In Tunisia, there are few business angels networks. We have Bridging Angels, MG Ban, we have Carthage Business Angels, we have also Damia Business Angels, and I'm going to focus a little bit on this network. So it was first born in 2019, December 2019. It counts more than 20 business angel members, and so far it invested in agri-tech, ed-tech as an example. So why do we call it Damia? So our DNA really takes its meaning from the Berber queen of Africa, Kahina. And she was first feminist and warrior queen, and she was the symbol of determined and strong and lucid woman. So this is why we call the business angel network Damia. Our vision is to be a network of women impact investors to support innovative and sustainable entrepreneurship, in particular women's initiatives in Tunisia. And the objectives, we have quite few objectives, but mainly is to promote angel investing, support women entrepreneurs, facilitate evaluation and investment of entrepreneurial projects, mainly those with high growth potential or high innovation rate. But as well, we facilitate the investment for projects with predominance of female leaders, or especially dedicated to women, or at least have one female co-founder. So you see there is a strong female element in our objectives and our DNA. One of the objectives is also to create a bridge between Tunisian investors and the diaspora. Actually, I'm a Tunisian resident in Qatar, and I'm part of Damia network. So even the diaspora as well is contributing to the activities of Damia. Just this gives an idea about the activities that we've done so far. So trainings for business angels, because the landscape is quite at early stage, even for the business angels. So we need awareness, we need a lot of awareness and to build capabilities and skills within the business angels in order to support investment. So we've done quite a few activities in terms of raising awareness and building capabilities and skills about investment and the business angel investment. Our partners, we have few partners internally and externally in Tunisia. Mainly we're partnering with Med Angels and empowering early stage investors externally with as well GIZ. So these are quite, I mean, supportive, and we work together with our partners in different activities. So practically, how to find us? Mainly through the website, but we also have a Facebook page and a LinkedIn page. So we are we can be contacted through these channels. Just now back to the angel investing actually, and what do angel investors actually do or want? I like this to see angel investor as basically an angel with two wings, one for the money and one as well for the time, the network, the knowledge and expertise, and even the emotional support that is like invested into the startup. So this is really, I think that's quite pertinent to the role of the angel investor in the ecosystem. And basically, to translate that role, business angels have investment strategies. And as business angels, we want to assess the opportunities and whether a startup fits the investment strategy through different aspects. So what's the problem the startup is solving? What's the solution to the problem? Team composition and capabilities. What's the business model that is used? At what stage is the startup in its development, the market potential, and what are the scalability potential and opportunities for the startup? As you know, Tunisia is a small country in terms of like consumers. So basically, scalability is very important for startups to go beyond the Tunisian market. So that's a key element that is really looked at when we look at startups. We also would like to see the financial projections, assumptions, in general, what's the investment roadmap and what exit possibilities. But I mean, all of these are not going to be just tackled or described or in just one elevator pitch. It's actually a journey that we carry on during the different stages for assessing the startup, from screening to due diligence, etc. But let's start with the elevator pitch, for instance. I know Gaelle just listed quite a few and very exhaustive and comprehensive list. For me, I would summarize it in like 5 steps. So first of all is the introduction for self and startup. And this is an opportunity to have the hook and to catch the attention. And then there are 3 main questions, which are: what is the problem being solved? What's the solution? And what's unique for this solution? And what's the value proposition? So these 3 questions really, I think, are very important and need to be very clarified, especially if you have a very short time, like 1 minute or maximum like 2 minutes to go through all of this. I think it needs to be very concise and very clear and to the point. So at the end of the introduction or the elevator pitch, you can ask for the next step and follow up, and you call for the next action. And I will finish with this slide. So basically, how to approach BA in Tunisia. Well, the saying goes, "Your network is your net worth," actually, and that's a kind of truth, because the main introductions get through connection. And if you see the statistics from Startup Tunisia, so basically more than 82% of startup founders get access to finance or to business angels through their personal network. So really networking is key and is something very important. Otherwise, there are some structured programs run by Smart Capital, for example, HALO program, which is the Business Angel Activation Program. There is another program, which is INVESTMED as well. Alternatively, website, LinkedIn, social media. Personally, I've received even like cold emails from founders presenting their startups and asking for a call. So this could work as well, but with very little maybe chance. I think other more pertinent ways of connecting could be more successful. That's it really. So thank you for your attention, and hopefully you can catch up in the Q&A session later.
Yes, thank you very much, Mouawad, for the overview of the situation in Tunisia. Thank you for all the details about the Maya network, and thank you for sharing your vision about the role of the business angels. And now let's skip to the last session, which is the session about investing in Egypt. And it will be done by Ayah, that we have heard before. Ayah, please.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm really excited to share with you this digging deep into Egypt. I will share my screen right now. Okay, you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
Yes.
So when you think about the investment scene in Egypt, everyone knows it's booming. Everyone knows it's. So we are actually 120 million people living in Egypt. So you have to think how creative we are, especially when it comes to startups. So let's first talk about the funding evolution that happened in the last 5 years in Egypt. So when you look deeper, you will see that 2021 and 2022 was actually amazing 2 years for the startups in Egypt, especially that last year we were able to get more than $517 million. And actually in 2021, 120 from them were actually mega funding. It were like more than $100 million. We were able to... You can hear me well?
I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
You can hear me now?
The voice is a bit.
You can hear me or not? Hello?
Hi, yeah, we can hear you. It's just a bit quiet, Ayah. Maybe if you could speak up a bit or speak closer to the microphone.
Can you hear me now better?
Yes, that's a bit better. There's some background noise, that's all. Thanks.
I'm sorry. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what I was saying is that, sorry. The last 5 years will have been a lot of things that happened in Egypt, especially 2021 and 2022. There was a lot of evolution happening with last year $517 million of funding investment in Egyptian companies, and actually with around 160 deals. So it was a great year for Egypt. You can imagine that in 2021 we had actually a lot of mega funding amounts with more than $100 million of funding. When we go deeper into the breakdown, you will see that when it comes to the MENA, you will find that Egypt actually was on the top in 2022. When it comes to the top countries of total funding, you will find that it was the UAE, then Saudi, then Egypt. We have a lot of startups, as I said earlier, so this is why we have a lot of deals. And then followed by Qatar, Algeria, or Bahrain and Tunisia. After this, when we go more into Africa, you'll see that Egypt actually was the second in the number of deals after Nigeria. And actually, it was the third after Nigeria and Kenya for the top countries of the total funding that happened in 2022 with $570 million. Let's go deeper into the industry itself. So actually, what people invested in, the top industries, as you see, of course, it's e-commerce with 37 deals, followed by the fintech, and then the logistics and transportation, health tech, and enterprise software. So when we go deeper into the enterprise software, you'll find this also includes actually the creative industries. So anything related to ad tech or related to gaming went deeper into this area. The next slide, it's more into the most industries that were able to get the money. So actually, fintech, again, it got all the cash, so with 217 millions, followed by the e-commerce, 148 millions, and then the transportation, logistics, 62, then retail and healthcare. When we go more into the top funding rounds that happened, you will say that PayMob, for example, was very booming in Egypt. They raised 50 millions as a Series B, and Maksab as well. Maksab is like an e-commerce where they sell supermarket products for supermarkets. And Manifellas and Brimware and Lucky, all of them mostly fintech and e-commerce. These were the mega deals that happened last year. And then this is a list of the startups that actually got funded in 2022 with a lot of amazing potential new startups coming. You have Blink, you have Bombell, you have a lot of actually female-founded startups as well. We have Lucky, we have Cachette. It was really great to see some of the amazing female founders getting to have these funds in 2022. Also, this is the rest of the startups that I was talking about. But let's see, you can see also Value, for example, which we got actually, it's a mega startup now, and they got, I will talk more about it later on. So you will see when we talk more about the investors that we can approach in Egypt. Actually, we have quite a lot of investors. We have Flat 6 Labs, we have Falak, we have AC Angels, we have Algebra Ventures, we have A15, and actually the list is huge. But for the current, I can recommend some of the active investors in Egypt. So one of them actually is Plug and Play, which is a very active investor, especially in Africa, and they are more into the North African countries. So you will find them also in Tunisia and Morocco as well. And also 500 Global, they started a seed camp and a seed program, and also a pre-series A program for startups. And they actually are going to invest as well. The program actually is held in Egypt, and they are looking now for startups where they can invest in. When you come to the AUC Angels and the B Lab, so both are from the AUC. Actually, the capitals are a little low, but the thing is, the network is amazing. So if you're an early stage startup, you should go to them because you will have a huge exposure, and they will be on your side. Like if you are still need to learn more, you can join the accelerator. You can learn more on the investment readiness part. But the thing is, you do invest. So maybe the capital is not big, but it will be a step to how to intercede and Series A afterwards. Also, when you think more about the MENA for some of the investors that we are also heavy investing right now, you will find Ra'its from Saudi Arabia. You'll find adventures in Egypt, Endure as well, Endure Capital. Endure is more into a seed and Series A investors. You will find Shuru. You will find a lot of amazing lists. You can take snaps from these logos, so you can search more about them and know more about what they are interested in, and you can reach them easily over LinkedIn. What was happening in Egypt actually was really exciting because, as I told you earlier, I started 15 years ago. But the thing is, the ministry actually of information technology in Egypt wasn't like now. So actually, they weren't helping the startup community very well. We were all by ourselves. So when they actually started to change and the new administration took by Dr. Amr Talat the last couple of years, things had dramatically changed, but in a good way. So, for example, we now have a lot of hubs for innovation. We can have our own offices in a very amazing co-working spaces with the ministry. The ministry actually started to support the startups to travel to a lot of events and conferences abroad, and this wasn't happening before. This is something new to what's happening in the startup ecosystem in Egypt. Also, as I said, the creative innovation hubs with the ministry. Actually, this is one of for example, they got a palace, a very historical palace, and they transformed it into a co-working space. So you actually can rent a studio for yourself or a space for yourself for free for 1 year. So this has helped a lot of startups in Egypt, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. Also, they had a lot of initiatives that, like for Mouawad, for example, or for example with Heya Raida. It's more into a female-focused program. This program actually is for very early stage female founders, and they give them trainings. And actually, the ministry itself invests. So actually, the ministry through ITIDA and TIC, they have a program where they pre-invest and they have an incubation. So actually, you can get their help and get the money from them if you are a very early stage startup. And this is something that wasn't also happening before. So a lot of trainings have been done. They started to help startups to get the IPs and to register their companies and do a lot of marketing strategies. This wasn't happening before. We didn't see this before. And we are proud that this is happening now. And we are getting a lot of support from our government now. So I'm really happy that I'm sharing all this info with you today. And when you have a look more into the exits that happened last year, you will find, for example, we had a lot of startups that got acquired from others. Like, for example, I was talking about Value. Value is a fintech platform where you buy things through installments. They actually acquired Paymob, an Egyptian company, and a lot of amazing deals had been happening. With Halan, for example, and a lot more. So actually, things were going great in 2022, and a lot of exits have been happening. Around 17 exit was done. The question is for, okay, so I'm targeting the Egyptian startups, of course, for this, or anyone who want to expand in Egypt. I think one of the most important things that helped me for myself or help the people around me, an advice that I got a couple of years ago is that you have to work on your personal branding. So I agree with my colleague from Tunisia when she said about the networking and how important the network is. And this is how actually I got promoted in the MENA Women Business Club. The thing is, people call me a butterfly, a social butterfly. So it's very important to be networking everywhere, to know, to have good connections, and build your personal brand. Why I'm saying this? Because actually, for startups, it's very difficult to put money in marketing, and it's very difficult to build the image of the company. But it's more easier to build the profile and build the image of the founder. So when you try to do this, this will give an impact on your startup. So building your brand, building your name, building your name inside the ecosystem. Investors will start to know you. Ecosystem builders will start to understand what you're doing. So when you say I'm seeking investment right now, you will find a lot of people who are trying to help you out. This is one thing. The second thing is that networking, as I said earlier, the pitching skills, my two colleagues talked about it in details and they were really great. But don't forget to add the story and don't forget to add your passion, because it's all about, at the end of the day, you're convincing the investor. So you have to show your passion in what you're doing. It's not just you're going to take their money and go away. So you have to show them how you are passionate and dedicated to what you're doing, and you have to show the emotional part in this, because this is how you will be able to get the money. It's very important to get the emotional story beside the numbers. So the numbers should be reflecting the story. The other part is that if you can't reach investors, go through incubators and accelerators, because when you go to inside them, their network will help you to reach the investors. So as I said earlier, for example, Plug and Play are very active now in Egypt, and actually they are one of the great things that they are doing is that they actually give you the access for their international investors. So actually they are everywhere. So when you are like in the demo day, a lot of investors from everywhere. You find people coming from Japan, you find people coming from Europe, you find people coming from France, from the States, from everywhere. So you will be like surprised with the people you are meeting with them. So I really encourage you to join their programs and see how the impact they are doing. This is the thing. The second thing is that don't be afraid of what you're doing. So you have, as I said earlier, you have to show that you are the best in what you're doing. You have to convince people that nobody can do what you're doing. Even when we are talking about the creative industries, a lot of technology and creativity is involved in our startups. So the investors has to see what's the edge that you have, because creativity is an edge itself, and technology as well. So you have to have a very professional team, whether from artists or whether from developers or whatever. You have to show this in your pitch deck. So you have to show them how capable is your team. This is very important as well. So I think build your personal brand, network as much as you can, and go to contests. You have to show and expose yourself. Tell the world what you are and show them how good you are and how good can you be and how good you will succeed and win everything. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayah, for sharing with us the details about the investors' networks in Egypt and in MENA region, as well about the existing startup ecosystem. I think it's very useful for all the entrepreneurs and for those who will present the elevator pitch in the coming final event.
So you can hear me okay, right? My colleague Elena and I have been making some notes of the presentations as they've been going. So for those of you that joined a little bit late, we can see this kind of overview of what was said. I don't want to run through all of it because I won't give it justice in 5 minutes. But essentially, I think the conclusions we can draw from this is that all of your startups in the green, blue, and cultural and creative industries are incredibly valuable at the moment. There's clearly a trend, and the Mediterranean region, specifically your countries, are on the rise. So even though maybe you're not finding anything right now, the trend is going up. I will share this board with you so you have access to all of the statistics and the presentations by the speakers. The thing that I really did want to focus on was something that was mentioned by all of the speakers, and I really loved Awatef's quote, which is "Your network is your net worth." I think this is something we can all take away and really benefit from. I know you all do it anyway. But if there's one thing to take away, I think it's this. So if anybody, I will share this, and feel free, I will want to make it collaborative, so you can add your comments on here as well. And that's pretty much it from us. Yeah, I'll hand over back to Joanna.
Yeah, thank you very much. Firstly, I am sure that this overview will be very useful for all the participants of the workshop. So I hope it was worth to participating, and that you get out with information about different way to approach business angels and VC in different countries and in MENA region. We'd like to make a final photo with all of the participants of the workshop, if it's possible. So I would like to ask to open your camera just for the moment to make the photo. But of course, we'll share with you with the presentation that we made during the workshop. So thank you very much.
Keep them on. I'm waiting for some more people to turn theirs on. It's so nice to see all of your faces rather than just a room of empty initials.
Okay, so thank you once again. And as Kirsty said, in case you have any question, you can always contact our speakers. And I'm sure that they will be very happy to help you with your enterprises, with your searching for investment. So thank you once again, and see you during the final event in Tunisia.